The Premier League starts in a week and a half, and Man United have only made two signings. And let's get straight into it, right? Because going into the summer, I expected a lot from Man United. I expected them to go for higher players. I expected them to sign a couple more players than two players, right? Andre Santos, Yuri Tillemans, very good midfielders, very promising. Andre Santos, Yuri Tillemans, I rate him very highly, but I expected more from United. I expected them to try and improve at left back to get a Luke Shaw replacement. I expected them to go replace maybe Diogo Dalot, even though he's kind of solid. Maybe improve on the center back position. But I said that they needed three midfielders going into this summer and another striker. I genuinely believe they need another striker. I'm not sure if you could trust Joshua Xerxes to play multiple Premier League games, 10 to 15 Premier League games. Could you trust Joshua Xerxes to do very good in those games? I'm not too sure. Maybe in the cup games, maybe in the FA Cup and the Carabao, he might do well. Maybe in the Champions League against some lower class teams, with all due respect. But I'm not sure if you could trust Xerxes for 15 to 20 games this season. I'm not sure if he will get the goals. He might get a couple assists, but I'm not sure if you could trust him to lead the line for Manchester United, right? Because Man United has always had pull. Man United will always have pull. They signed Cunha and Embuemo after finishing 15th in the Prem. But now they have Champions League on top of that. I expected them to go and sign more players of high quality. And the thing with Andre Santos is there's a lot of question marks, there's a lot of unknowns, but I think he's a solid player. He's a very solid player. Wins his duels, very good tackling. He's good on the ball. He'll do well for Man United, right? And then he's young, he's promising. Yuri Tillemans, I rate him very highly. I think he's very good for Aston Villa. He did a lot of work for them going forward. He has very good line breaking passes. He's very solid on the ball. He's very pressure resistant, which is something that I think Man United needed. But I think they lost Casemiro, so one of those players is just a Casemiro replacement. And they still have Ugarte at the club. They still have Joshua Xerxes. They still have players that I think that they could have replaced and improved on. I think they could have signed it. They could have done well with an Adam Warren, with an Anderson, with the Guimaraes, with the Fernandez. I think there's a lot of options, midfield options that they could have gone for a little bit more. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of Man United fans say, "Oh, we got him for a good price in the market. Good price in the market. The market this, we got him for a good price." But the thing is, if you want to fight for titles, if you want to fight for championship, for trophies, you need to spend the money. You have to spend the money. You can't be trying to like out market the players, and you can't try to be better, get better players by lower prices and out businessing other teams. But the thing is, you need to spend the money. You have to spend the money in today's day and age to really challenge. Arsenal saw that Bruno Guimaraes was out there for 75 million. And they said, well, we'll pay whatever it is because we know Bruno Guimaraes is gonna spend. Chelsea said we're gonna buy Rodgers because we know he's gonna improve them. Arsenal bought Guimaraes. Spurs bought Tonali and Fernandez. Why? Because they're like, oh, we're gonna. So he's gonna improve us so much. He's gonna help us move up the levels, right? I'm not sure Andre Santos really does that for Man United, and I'm not sure Yuri Tillemans really works with Kobe Mainoo all too well, right? He's very good at passing forward, but I'm not sure either of them cover enough ground or athletes or physically to cover the ground and be so defensively solid, right? And you just have to spend the money on the players that deserve it. Tonali, I think, is one of those players you deserve to spend the money on. Guimaraes, 100%. 29 years old. He's one of the best midfielders in the league, one of the best in the world. He's so good. And to get the best players, you need to spend the money. Then that's the thing. You want to win trophies, you want to challenge for titles, you want to make a Premier League run. You need the players and you need to spend the money. Then that's what Man United has always been. They buy the best players from the other teams, right? I know this isn't the old Man United. I know this isn't the Premier League winning Man United. But just to give you an example, the Premier League winning Man United would have gone and bought Guimaraes. They would have gone and bought Tonali. They would have gone and bought the Anderson. I think Anderson just looks like a Man United player. How good he is physically, how athletic he is, how he's good on the ball. He's so well rounded. He looks like a Man United player. They would have bought Guimaraes. They would have bought Anderson, and they would have been happy with that, right? But now Man United is trying to play like a Brighton in the game. They're trying to get lower fees. They're trying to spend not too much money. money. They don't want to spend that much, and that's not how it works in today's day and age. You don't see Arsenal trying to get some good offers and lower class fees. You don't see Chelsea trying to get lower fees. And they're the most recent Champions League winner, Premier League Champions League winners. You don't see these top teams trying to get low fees. You don't see Real Madrid trying to spend low money for some of the best players. That's not how it works. That's not how you win titles. That's not how you go out and win trophies. So I've seen a lot of Man United fans act like accountants, and the thing is, no, we're footballing fans. We're not accountants. They're just trying to look at the net income. They're trying to look at all of this. Come on, you to win trophies, you need the best players, and the best players are obviously going to cost more. So I expected more from Man United. Diego Dalot is one of those players. I think he's solid enough to play the 30, 40 Premier League games. All competitions. He could easily play 40 games, all competitions. He looks to be a leader in that team. So it makes sense that they don't get rid of him or replacement. Mazraoui is a good replacement. But Luke Shaw, can you trust Luke Shaw to play another full Premier League season with no injuries? He played all the games last season, but can you really trust him to do that for back-to-back seasons? If he gets injured, what do you do with left back? Do you play Dorgu there, or do you play Dorgu back in the wings? He was scoring goals non-stop when he played out in the wings under Michael Carrick. He was doing so well at left wing, scoring beautiful goals against Arsenal and other teams. So do you play, is Dorgo really a left back? Is he one of those players that starts at fullback and then moves up the pitch? I think he is. So you have Harry Amas, who people rate very highly, but the thing is, he hasn't played in the Prem, so we don't really know how good he is. As someone looking from the outside looking in, I just think Man United could have done so much better. I still think they need another midfielder. I still think they need another backup striker. Will Rashford get back to Man United and do well? Because that's the thing, right? Rashford didn't want to return to Man United. He's returning to Man United because that's his only option. No one wanted to buy him. No one wanted to pay his wages. He didn't want to return. He was talking about how he wanted to stay at Barca, how he wanted to stay at Barca, how he loved the players he had, how Hansi Flick was giving him enough time. But the thing is, he has some of the highest wages, and I think that's part of the reason why Man United haven't been able to spend too much, right? Because now they have that Rashford wage. I think he's like on 350K a week. Can you really spend the money you want to spend when you have a player earning that much? Who I don't think is going to start, right? I think the front three is pretty set. And Mbumo, Cunha, and Sesko. That is the front three with Bruno Fernandes in behind of them, right? Rashford isn't going to start, and he's going to be earning 300 to 350 a week. And that is not good for the transfer market for Man United. They wanted to spend, they wanted to get an £80 million player and Lewis Hall, right? But can you do that when you have Marcus Rashford earning the amount that he earns? I don't think so. And I'm not sure they've gotten rid of Onana either as well, because he was on loan to Strasbourg. Could this can they get rid of him? Who's gonna want to pay his wages? Who's gonna want to pay his fee? I'm not too sure about that. They have players to get rid of. They have Ugarte, Rashford. They couldn't get rid of him, so they just gave him a squad number. He's now part of the team. Michael Carrick seems to like him. He seems to want him. Michael Carrick is a Man United legend. Is maybe too much of a push. But he had a very good time at Man United, Michael Carrick. Some people might see him as a legend, but Man United has too many legends to really just be putting players up there. I know he was very good for them, but I think he likes Rashford. Will Rashford be able to get back to it? Will he be out of the media? And the thing about Rashford, I don't think he's like a Garnacho. I don't think he's like just a bad, annoying person, right? But the thing is, with the media, he didn't want to be there. He was his only option, really. How will he do? I'm not too sure. He doesn't look too happy. He looked happy at Barca. He was smiling in all the training sessions. He was happy out in the meetings. The media outlets. He was always smiling and happy. And now you see him in Man United. He doesn't look too happy. So how will he do? I'm not too sure. Amad Diallo and Bumo, I think they're good. I think that's a good pairing. Backup and Amad being and Bumo's backup makes sense. Amad even as a backup, he'll play a lot of games. Get a lot of minutes. Bruno Fernandes, could he give you another 50 games? I'm not too sure. I think they should have signed a backup for him as well. His backup was Mason Mount, but now they're saying Mason Mount is going to be played in the double pivot because he's been doing good there in preseason. I think they're gonna run Bruno off the park. I think he's gonna be. I think hopefully not, right? I don't hope injuries on anyone, but I have a feeling that he's gonna get an injury here or there. You know, he's not 26 years old. Bruno Fernandez. He's past his 30s now. I don't think he could play the amount of games he can. You know, we've seen it with Bukayo Saka. We've seen it with Declan Rice. They're young players in their prime, and with the amount of minutes they played, the amount of games they played, they're now injured because of all of that. Bruno Fernandez is now past his 30s. He played the World Cup. He played all the Premier League games last season. Can he really do that again without getting even a slight injury? I'm not too sure. You know, there's a lot of question marks around this. I think Michael Carrick, there's question marks around him. Can he play four competitions and be able to rotate players? This yet to be unknown, right? He was at Middlesbrough, then we jumped to Man United. We're not People aren't too sure about how he would do. And from an outsider looking in, there's just too many question marks. I think they have a very solid base, right? I don't think they would drop out of this top six, right? That's the thing, right? I'm talking about all these things they need, but that is to win titles. That is to challenge for titles. Everything I'm talking about is for them to challenge or try to make a run in the cups, in the Champions League, in the Prem, try to challenge for that, right? But with the base they have and the way Michael Carrick plays them, how they're pretty solid defensively. They're not the best, right? I remember the game against Leeds. They struggled so much. Leeds was just attacking them and attacking them. They could have lost that. I think that was a game where they almost lost the halftime record, right? The famous halftime record. But I just think that their floor, their base is sixth place. I think the way Michael Carrick is too solid, and I think the players they have are too solid to get lower than to be like under Ruben Amorim. I don't think they'll get that far. I think their lowest could be sixth or seventh. But again, if they want to really challenge for titles, they want to make runs. If they want to make it far in all competitions, maybe a Premier League title run up until January, kind of like Aston Villa did last season. I think they really need it a lot more. You know, I highly rate Tillemans. I think he's so good. Andre Santos, I think he's very solid. But to be challenging, I think you need very good squad depth. I think you need quality squad depth, not just squad depth, but quality squad depth that will push you and get you through those games. I rate a lot of their players very highly, but they're not going to be playing two times a week. Some of their players won't be able to rest as much. And I just think they need a lot more. You know, the transfer window ends until September 1st, right? They have time. I think they will get in another signing or two, but they have to spend the money. They have to spend the money in order to really, really battle for something, right? And I want to see how much they move in this last 3 weeks. I really want to see how much they do. I want to see if they go for it, right? They have to go for it. They need a push. They're in Champions League, right? They always sign players to qualify for Champions League, but once they qualify for Champions League, they seem to stall, which doesn't make sense. But like I said, I don't think they'll do too bad. But in order to qualify and to push for titles, to challenge in all fronts, I really did expect more from Man United. I really did expect more.